my God!
That's right. If you're looking to create an easy transition in After Effects that will generate genuine delight from your partner, well, pop on your shoes because this tutorial starts now. Okay, so first off, let me just put you at ease by saying that this tutorial is very beginner friendly. So the first thing that we want to do is go to Composition, New Composition, and then I like to use the preset HDTV 1080-24, and I don't mess with anything else here. And then I go to the color. I like to use a neutral background, like a dark gray or something. And then I'm going to change the composition duration to 1 second, 12 frames, which is just 1.5 seconds. And just to be clear, since we're using 24 frames per second, 12 frames is 0.5 seconds. And then we're gonna hit OK. And now we're gonna create the solid layers. So go to Layer, New, Solid. So I want this layer to be a little bit taller than the frame, so a little bit taller than 1080, so I'm gonna choose 1200. And I want it to be about 1/3 the width of the frame, so I'm gonna choose 700, just a little bit over 1/3. And then I'm gonna change the color to a nice strong purple, and then I'm gonna hit OK. And remember when I said that this was an easy transition? All we're gonna do is duplicate this layer twice by selecting it, then hitting Command D or Control D if you're on a PC, and doing that twice. All right, now we have 3 solid layers, but we don't want them to be all the same color. So I'm going to click on this top one here, and then I'm gonna go to Layer, Solid Settings, and I'm gonna change the color to a nice vivid green. I'll hit OK and then New. And now let's just make sure we're still clicked on the layer. We'll hit P on the keyboard to bring up the position properties. And then we're gonna drag the X value over to about 330 so it fills the left side of the frame. And you'll notice that the layer actually moves when we do that. Fun! All right, now we'll select the bottom layer and then we'll go to Layer, Solid Settings. Let's choose a joyous pink color and then we'll hit OK and then New. And then again, make sure the layer's highlighted and then hit P to bring up the position properties. This time we're gonna drag the X value so it fills the right side of the frame. And then lastly, let's create our text layer. So all you're gonna do is select the T tool up here, and then you're gonna click and drag on the screen to create the dimensions of your text box, and then you can write whatever you want in there. I'm gonna choose like a transition. Under the character window on the right, you can adjust the font or the font size to your liking. One quick thing to note, make sure the text layer is on top of the other solid layers, otherwise you won't be able to see it, and it might like confuse you and you might freak out and like throw your computer across the room. Now go to the Align window on the right and click Align horizontally and Align vertically. Okay, so I want this text layer to move when the purple layer moves. So all I'm gonna do is click on this little pick whip icon and drag the pick whip icon from the text layer down to the purple layer. And now the text layer will inherit all the transform properties of the purple layer because it's now the parent layer. All right, everything's in place. Let's make this thing move. It is worth noting here, I'm gonna pause and just say that all this is customizable. You wanna change the text, the color of all this, yada, 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 all of that's completely customizable, but I am gonna state that from here on out, it's all based on my personal preference. So having said that, I would like everything to stop animating at 0.5 seconds in, so I'm gonna take the cursor and drag it over to the 12 frame mark. Then I'm gonna select all the layers and then I'll hit P on the keyboard to bring up the position properties again. Now I'm gonna hit this little stopwatch to create a keyframe for all the layers. Then I'll drag the cursor back to 0 and we can move the layers off frame so they appear to animate on. So first I'll click on the purple layer and adjust the Y value so it animates on from above, along with the text layer. Nice, and notice how a new keyframe's been created too. And now we just have the green and pink layers and I actually want them to animate on from below, so I will adjust the Y values to reflect that choice. Now if I hit spacebar, I can kind of see that my composition's coming together. It looks pretty good.
Wow, look at that.
You know, I think we could make these movements look a little bit more smooth. So one easy way to make it look a little bit better is by turning on motion blur. So this little circle, multiple circle icon, I'm gonna click that and then just make sure it's selected on each of the layers. Oh, but we're not done yet. Let's select all of the keyframes, right click on one of them, go to Keyframe Assistant and then select Easy Ease. If you need a more technical definition, really all it does is eases, if you will, the speed at which the layers move in and out of the keyframes. So let's hit the spacebar again and see how this looks. Oh man, that looks good. Sarah was right. Oh, all right, so now that we have our transition animating on the screen the way we want, we actually need it to animate off. Get out of here so that it reveals the next scene. So what I want you to do is select all of the layers, right click on one of them and then choose Pre-Compose. And all that's really doing is taking all your layers and making it into a new composition with one single layer that contains all of your previous layers.
Layer section.
Let's call this Comp 2 and make sure Open New Composition is selected and then hit OK. And now we can see everything on one layer. But the first thing that we need to do is double the duration of this composition. So we're gonna go to Composition, Composition Settings, and then we will adjust the duration to 3 seconds, 1 frame, and hit OK. And now the composition is actually 3 seconds, 1 frame, so we need to take this Time Navigator cursor and drag it all the way over to the right. And obviously now there's a gap on the right side. So what you want to do is click on the layer, Command D to duplicate it, and then drag it over so it fills in the right side of the frame. And this is great, but we need it to animate off. So we have to select the bottom layer, right click it, go to time reverse layer. And now we have a gorgeous transition that animates on and then animates off. Perfect. At last, we're ready to export this beauty. So go to File, Export, Add to Render Queue. Now we're in the render area, let's adjust a few things. Leave the render settings alone, but under Output module, click on Lossless and then a new window will pop up. And then under Video Output and Channels, click on RGB and change it to RGB plus alpha. And let me just state that this step is absolutely critical. This ensures that our animation has a transparent background so that it seamlessly animates on over the first clip and then animates off over the second clip. So make sure you do this. Then hit OK. And then lastly, click on Output 2 and you can change the name of the file. You can change where it gets saved on your computer or on your hard drive, and then hit OK. And then, ooh, just hit render. And there you have it, a transition that'll make your partner proud. You can use this to mask cuts between different scenes in any editing software that you choose, Premiere, Final Cut, whatever you want to use. If you enjoyed this tutorial, I recommend you watch one that I made last week on how to alter your voice using Adobe Audition. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Like and subscribe.